I maxed out my entire skill set using a build that no one's talking about and reached over 1 million points in the final stage of Dota 2's newest minigame, Nest of Thorns. I've been playing this game for the past few days and tried multiple builds, but I found this one to be the best, especially if you're aiming for high scores. So in this video, I'll show you how strong this build is, as well as my thought process during the entire game, and how I finished this level using minimal upgrades. I had to make sure that I had the maximum cooldown reduction upgrade as well as the projectile count, and then the rest is optional because I believe this can be done even without the other upgrades that I had. So as soon as the game starts, I'm gonna make my way to the treasure chest and waste no time because the items will sometimes boost my skills, which will make clearing the mobs faster. So the first skill that I'm gonna level up is Chain Frost, because it's really good in dealing with Roshan early game. At around the 30 seconds mark, Roshan is gonna spawn, so the earlier you kill him or deal with him, the better, because it's gonna spawn every 30 seconds that he dies. So first item is gonna be Specialist Array, then I'll take the second level of Arcane Bolt, so it can clear mobs faster. Now Roshan is up, and this Roshan is gonna give you items. And I don't recommend rolling for items because items are not really important in this game. As long as you have the right skill, I believe you can finish it with whatever item you have in your inventory. So I got lucky here. I got Kaya for more magical damage. I don't want any of these skills. We roll, and I took the magic missile. So now I have 2 low cooldown skills to clear mobs faster, and look at that, it's shredding through. Now the goal here is to get all the low cooldown skills to around level 3 or 4 so that when the huge skeleton waves comes, you won't have a hard time. So now Roshan is back up after 30 seconds. I just deal with him and take the item. So take level 2 in Specialist Array because it's gonna deal more damage. More projectiles coming out means it's gonna deal with more mobs around me. So I don't like that skill. I roll and take the knife. This skill is really overpowered in my opinion, and I don't see anyone talking about this. A lot of people loves using the spirits or the mines and counter helix for the AoE so that the mobs cannot touch you. But today I'll show you how much stronger this skill is and how much better it is compared to all the skills that I mentioned earlier. Now I'll be taking the second level of Kaya so I can get more magical damage, and look how strong this is against Roshan. It's shredding through him. And just like that, maximum level of Kaya. So more magical damage for me, except for the knives, because since it's a physical damage skill, it can only be upgraded by physical damage items. So now my goal is to wait for the first boss, and I'm gonna be collecting the blue gems on the ground, which is for experience, so I can level up faster. And I'll be taking the second level of Magic Missile. And again, I need to make sure that the lowest cooldown skills in my skill set is around level 3 or 4 once the big waves come in. So around the 2 minutes and 30 seconds mark, the big wave is going to be coming in. It's pretty weak, and look how I deal with Roshan pretty easily with this build. Now I take Phylactery for more projectile damage. Since we're running a projectile build, it's a no-brainer to take this skill for more damage. Now I take Track, because this is going to be really important for the late game, and to max out everything in this game I need a track skill and get the axe for it. Now level 3 Magic Missile for more crowd control, and I'm just running around in circles here so I can collect the experience gems on the ground. And I try to get as much of them as I can so I can level up faster, because the faster I level up, the faster I can get level 3 or 4 in my skill, so level 3 in Arcane Bolt. So I'm not gonna have a hard time once bigger waves and stronger waves come in. So right now, we got the zombie, the green zombie things. These are quite tanky. And I'm gonna be taking the level 2 in knives as well. So they're evenly leveled up. Phylactery level 2 as well for more damage in my projectiles. So look how I'm shredding through everything right now. I don't even need the spirits or the counter helix to keep away from my opponents because the mobs can't even come near me. before I come to them, they're already gone, and they're already turned into experience stones on the ground. So I just make sure that I level up everything evenly. And for the knife skill, I make sure to prioritize to level up this thing because it's really weak early, but once I level it up to 4 and beyond, that's the time that it's going to be showing its true power. At around the 4-minute mark, the spiders are going to come. They don't have a lot of health, but there's a lot of them. So make sure you have low cooldown skills leveled to 3 or 4 once they come. Because look at this, they cannot even touch me because my skills are coming out faster, one right after the other. So once they get near me, they just disappear. And right here, I'm going to be leveling up, and it's going to be level 4 knife throw. And if you'll notice, you'll see the knife throw showing its true potential. Just like a real knife, it's just cutting through butter right now. And because of this, there's no way for the mobs to corner me. Because if they corner me, they just disappear. And one big mistake that I've seen a lot of people do, and I've seen this through videos, where they would still fail and use up their Aegis or their second life because they didn't level up their skills evenly. They would only level up 1 or 2 skills and max them out. Then the bigger and stronger wave comes in, the other skills are left useless because it's level 1, and they would ultimately lose as a result. Anyway, I eliminated this Cinder Guard here and took the track skill, Aghanim Scepter. It's really important that I get this early because it gives me 2 items per Roshan kill, which would help me max out everything in this game because once everything is maxed out in terms of items, it's gonna go through levels. So instead of getting items from Roshan, you can get skill levels as well. So here I took Phylactery and Crystalys because I'm working towards maximizing them both out to level 3 because once they're level 3, I can combine them into one item, a stronger item called the Khanda. So the Khanda is going to give me more projectile damage for my magic missile and my arcane bolt, as well as critical hit for the throwing knife skill. So right here I'm trying to look for barrels so I can get some cheese and heal myself up since I'm low in HP. But I was also waiting for Roshan, and since he's right here, I eliminated him right away and upgraded my Crystalys into a Khanda. So it combined the Crystalys and the Phylactery into one stronger item. And if you'll notice, I started prioritizing into maxing out the throwing knife skill because my strategy here is to make sure that I have level 3 or 4 into my lowest cooldown skills, which is the magic missile and the arcane bolt. So those skills are not that useless as I'm maxing out or leveling up my preferred skill, which is in this case the throwing knife skill. So around the 6-minute mark, the brown ogres are gonna come out. They're really tanky, so it's easy to be overwhelmed by these things. So make sure that you've leveled up your skills evenly and that you're maximizing one skill in particular, because this is one of the common parts where people fail, so make sure you level it up correctly. Now I took the Apex, which will give me one more slot for another skill. I didn't take any new skill there, I just took the magic missile because again, level up your skills evenly so they're not useless against these creatures. At this point I'm really confident with my skill progression, so I'm just cruising through the game. And here is when I leveled up and I didn't want to take any other skill, so I just leveled up track, which I really don't recommend unless you really have to because track is really useless in early game. But since I'm looking for the Laguna Blade, I tried to save up my skill slot for that skill in hopes that I would get it this game so I can get more damage. So now let's talk about this boss, the Evershade. This creature will resurrect 3 times, and each time it resurrects, it goes faster and faster. So I don't recommend taking this boss on if you don't have a lot of level in your skills, especially in your throwing knives or your stun skill, because it's gonna clip you and you will most likely lose the game once it catches up to you. So right here my plan was to take the magnet on the top side of the map, because what that will do is take all the XP gems from all over the map that I haven't gotten yet so I can level up my skills faster. And if you'll notice, this is the importance of a high level throwing knife skill. I can get to where I need to go, and I don't have to wait for the mobs to get to me. I just have to cruise my way through them, unlike the spirits or the counter helix or swashbuckle where I have to wait for them to come near me so I can knock them back. Where this, I just have to cut through them like a knife through butter and just get to where I need to go. And in this case, I was going towards the magnet so I can get all the levels I need in order for me to defeat the Evershade. Because once I max out the knife throw skill, it's gonna have 0 cooldown, and what that means is that when the Evershade manages to catch up to me, it's gonna be stopped by this mini stun from the knife throw. And even if it's not yet at the maximum level, since I leveled up my skills evenly, projectiles are constantly coming out of Skywrath Mage, and as a result, this mob cannot clip me as long as I keep on moving, so that's what I did. And that's how I got my second Aghanim Scepter, and for this upgrade I chose the Chain Frost because it deals a lot of damage. I also took the Magnet, so now levels are gonna start pouring in. My priority is to maximize Magic Missile and Knife Throw first because of their crowd control capabilities, because in a little bit the big skeletons and the big mobs are gonna be coming, so I had to make sure that I leveled up everything correctly and evenly so that I won't get overwhelmed by these creatures. Now at this point I maxed out the Magic Missile and the Knife Throw, so I'm going to start leveling up the Chain Frost so I can deal even more damage. So as you can see, the big mobs have arrived and it's a little bit harder to kill them, not to the point that it's really difficult and I'm gonna be overwhelmed by this, but I have to move a little bit slower than usual, and the big red circles are gonna be coming even more now. So now this is gonna be the battle of positioning, so I have to make sure that I stay around the edges of the map because those are the places where barrels spawn, and barrels do drop cheese, so I can heal myself if I get in trouble, and sometimes they do drop magnets so I can get more XP. So at this point the third boss has appeared, so I had to slowly make my way over there while staying close to the edge of the map because as you can see there's a cheese there, and I just have to remember where it is just in case I need it for healing later. This is also the time when the splitting golems will appear, and as long as I keep moving it's not gonna clip me. There are also blue ghosts here, and whenever they come, I just have to face them and they're just gonna be pushed back, and that's it. It's kind of hard to kill them, and the goal is not to kill them but to push them back so they will be derailed from their line and they won't be able to touch me. So in these final few minutes of the game, I was just trying to eliminate as much mobs as I can so I can get more XP and max out my skills, and I did manage to max out the Chain Frost at this point, which in turn made it easier for me not to get overwhelmed by these creatures. And one good thing about the Chain Frost is that it just bounces around and knocking barrels even, and as you can see I just got a free magnet there because I guess the barrel spawned off screen and it was hit by one of the Chain Frosts, and as a result I was able to level up my skills faster just in time for the final boss to appear. Now this final stretch of the game was really tough for me because the trends were really tanky and I had to move really slow while there's a golem trying to follow me behind, and also trying to mind where the Reaper is. I had to make sure that the Reaper is always in check and that it's really far away from me, because if it clips me then the game's over. Also there's gonna be two more which is gonna be spawning very soon, so I have to keep those in check as well. But here is the point where I got my third and final Aghanim Scepter upgrade. And for this upgrade, I chose to upgrade the Arcane Bolt because it will deal double the amount of the Arcane Bolts that I am dealing, and aside from the damage that it's dealing, it also has knockback distance, meaning there's going to be less chance of mobs overwhelming me because they're constantly being stunned by the Magic Missile, and they're being knocked back by Knife Throw and the Arcane Bolt at the same time. So at this point, I just found another magnet on the ground and I'm just trying to save it up, and I'm trying to eliminate as much mobs as I can so I can collect all the XP later, and it's gonna be really beautiful, let me tell you. But if you'll notice, the mobs around me are not really close to me compared to the Swashbuckle or the Counter Helix or the Spirits build, where I have to wait for the mobs to come near me so I can knock them back and possibly eliminate them. So now you see the power of this Knife Throw build, where you can eliminate mobs even before they come to you. You don't have to wait for them to come near you, and as a result I have a clear vision of what's going on around me. I have a clear vision of the Reaper and I keep him in check. And at this point I just took the magnet here, and it was really beautiful when I took this because there's just a lot of XP stones or gems on the ground, and I was able to max out everything except for the track skill. Now the track skill is really good in the late game because once you max out everything and you level this up, if you deal a lot of damage with your skills, you're gonna deal even more damage because of the damage amplification that it offers. So if you'll notice, because of the track skill, I'm just one-shotting everything in my path if I'm not already, and it's just really easy for me to see everything. I just have a really clear vision, and At this point, there's like a lot of big red circles, which is gonna damage me. And there's like 3 Reapers around. I also unlocked the bag of gold, which I don't know what that is for, but once you've maxed out everything, it's gonna be unlocked. But since I can see everything clearly, I can just regroup and go to where I need to go. And like if I'm low in health, I can see where the cheese is, and I can just go to the cheese and get healed. Right here, I'm just half HP, took the cheese, back to full. And in the last 10 seconds of the game, really strong mobs have arrived and it was really hard to eliminate them. So all I could do was just to spin around and just try to crowd control them the best that I can. And just like that, the worst part was over. The next bit of the game is against Imperia. This is the final boss fight and it's supposed to be hard, but I've played this multiple times and I've beaten her in this difficulty multiple times. So I know her patterns. She's gonna attack once. After that, I have to damage her and then she's gonna spin. After the spin, she's gonna fire all those rays of light. All I have to do is stand behind this pillar and face her so I can damage her right away as soon as the pillar is down. I also had to take the cheese because I was low in HP and I didn't want to risk it. So the thing is, she spins at a certain time or once 1/4 of her life is taken. It's just the same pattern over and over. It's just like beating a Mega Man boss, if you know that game. So basically the bosses in that game has patterns just like in this game. So they're gonna do a certain animation and I have to do something to counteract what she's doing. So in this case, she's firing rays of light. I have to hide behind this pillar and wait for her to come out of the animation. I tried to run away from her because I wanted more points by hitting the mobs, but the bolts were automatically hitting her and she just fell like that. So here I'll just skip the outro because I've watched this multiple times and I don't want to spoil it for anyone. And in the end, the score that I got was 1.1 million final score. Every skill's maxed out. I had the Specialist Array, Kaya for magic damage, Apex for extra skill slot, the Octarine Core for cooldown reduction, Tome of Knowledge for XP, and Kanda for more damage in projectile skills. I'm not just a Dota gamer, but I play other games as well, so if you'd like to see my other adventures in other games and you're interested in watching those types of videos, please consider subscribing. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.